Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Speak Your Mind. So tonight, guys, hopefully we can continue the conversation from where we left off last week. I want to thank most of you for your comments and views on what was expressed on the show. Of course, we encourage conversation and dialogue with you, the people. The show is dedicated to listening to your opinions and understanding your views, and hopefully that we can get the information out there to the policymakers and so forth. So tonight, we just want to continue. I want to start off by saying, again, it's Tourism Month. November this year is Tourism Month. I want to encourage people to go out, enjoy tourism, do the things that tourists will normally do, help stimulate the economy. So again, November month is Tourism Month. If you need more information, you can always go on the BVI Tourist Board website, bvitourism.com. They have a calendar on there where you can see what's happening throughout the whole month of November. Tourism month is very important for the BVI. Of course, you know, we're a tourist destination. So not only do we look for international tourists, we also welcome domestic tourists, and that's you. So spend your money, go around the islands, enjoy the different ambience, and stimulate your own economy so you can benefit from that as well. As we go forward, again, I want to share some information with you about last week we had a caller that was very concerned about access to beach. You know, she felt as if, you know, that's a problem. They have to go to, you know, places where it's not traditional, it's not an easy path to the beach, and she was wondering. So what I did this week, I was able to go and research the law. The specific law. I am not a lawyer, I'm a bush lawyer. So don't take my word as if it's law, but I'm only going to read what the Physical Planning Act of 2004 says, and I'm gonna share that information with you. The Physical Planning Act, for the lady that was with us last week, I wanted to share this with you guys. You know, it says in relation to beach access, it says there shall be at least one public landward access to every beach in the territory. Where there is no alternative public landward access, traditional public use of private land access to that existing private development shall be sufficient grounds for establishing a public way over the access for the purpose of access to that beach by the public. I mean, I could go on and go on and on and on. I mean, just this week I've been engaged with other folks who disagree with that situation. And these are the same people that work for government. They work in the department. So, you know, the Physical Planning Act 2004, you can always go down and get a copy of it. I'm not sure if it's online. But, you know, it goes on about public access. And the law says any road or any clear and free access to any beach without the territory, throughout the territory, that was deemed to be a public access can be utilized as public access. And it even goes as far as giving in government, you know, it said where the only landward access to the beach is through an existing private development where traditional public use for pursuant of subject 2 has not been established, the Crown, meaning the government, may require the right to public use of that landward access by gift, agreement, compulsory acquisition, or in exchange for other properties, interest, or financial exemption, or by such other means as the minister may recommend. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, anybody that tell you that you don't have a right to access anything that's been there before, it could be on private land. That's what it say, on private land. As long as it was deemed a public access to that beach, you have a right to utilize it. So my best recommendation to the folks who continue to feel as if they don't have any rights, you know, to get to natural resources, you have rights. You get together, write some letters to the ministry, write some letters to the folks that are responsible. So the Physical Planning Act, public access, there should be public access throughout the territory to any and every beach. So go ahead and utilize your rights. Last thing I want to throw out there to you guys about, I got a question. My question is very simple. I've been talking to people about statutory bodies, government offices and departments that buy their supplies and product overseas. And we have a number of businesses in the BVI that probably supply some of the same product that they buy from overseas. And my question to you, especially to the people who are responsible, the people who are in charge of these different statutory bodies and government offices, when you buy from overseas, does it help the economy? Does it help the person who have a business and not gaining that support? And what does that say about those businesses when we as individuals outside of our government job go to those businesses for support? We go to them for sponsorship. We ask them to help our kids travel around the world. We tell them support their softball team and baseball team. What does that say for employment in some of those businesses? When those businesses are not gaining your support through normal course of business, they can't hire people. And when those people are not being hired, they can't pay any taxes. So, my question is, how does that help the economy? Last thing on my brain tease, as I like to call it, whenever I start a show. Again, I was reading at the newspaper just this week. And last week I tried to emphasize that, it wasn't a bashing, I don't think. It was a bashing about trying to bash anybody from around the Caribbean. And I'm going to put it out there that, my whole focus is that as the BVI grow, and anyone who dispute what I'm saying, the tape is there. Go on jtvlive.net. It's right on there. Listen to it carefully. I have said in my opening statement that as the BVI grow, the BVI can't grow without, it cannot grow without others. We need others to help us out. We need folks from around the Caribbean. We need people from around the world. My whole focus is that I would like to see more Caribbean people involved with growth and development of the country. But the only way that we can grow is with your help, is that you will have to play your role. Your role, in helping yourself is also helping the country. And that was the point of my conversation. So anybody, I want to applaud the writer for one of the local newspaper, creative writer. The headline say, BVI can't grow without Caribbean expats, Sam Henry. That's not what I said. So if you want to run with that because that's on the level of what you want to think, run with it. But the tape is there. It's on JTV. And I'm not apologizing for what I said. I think it's right across the board. If you don't understand that as a Caribbean national, in order for this country to grow, that you have to play a role in helping it to grow. You can't talk negative about something and expect it to continue to give back to you. You can't pull down the country and expect the country to continue to be prosperous. The people who are contributing in a positive way, they know who they are, and they are reaping the reward, and the country is prospering because of their hard work. The people who are writing all this foolishness on the internet, they're not contributors, they're not nation builders, they're nation destroyers, and I'll say that to your face. You're a nation destroyer if you're not bigging up. If you're not advancing yourself and helping to advance the country, you're not building anything. So that's what I'm saying. And before I came here, I saw another article that just came out today. A good friend of mine is Mr. Dixon. I think he's a very bright fella, very intelligent fella. I like reading what he put out there. But Mr. Dixon, I would encourage you to go look at the tape. Don't take a snapshot on a newspaper and then run around and talk about slavery and mentality and all this foolishness. It doesn't make any sense. Read, listen to what was said, and I'm sure after you're done and you'll come to your senses. nobody is protecting, nobody is a protectionist in this sense. We're simply saying that the BVI is a prosperous country, and because of our prosperous self, we have allowed, and we have to allow others to come in and help us to continue to be prosperous. But when people come in, people who determine that they want to make this their home, they want to make this a place where they want to raise kids, and grow, they contribute positively. And if you're not doing that, you know who you are. If you're not contributing positively, then you're not a nation builder. You're a nation destroyer, and we don't need nation destroyers in the BVI. We need people to help lift up the country, and we need people, when you come in contact with our tourists and our visitors, we want you to have knowledge of the BVI to help lift up the BVI. We don't want you talking to a tourist and then talking about, China because you're from China. That's not what people come here for. They didn't come here. If they wanted to know about China, they would have gone to China. And if you can't understand that, again, because of the way you think, that's your problem. But we need nation builders. So, Courtney, welcome. What you think about, I just put a couple things out there. Food for thought, you know what I mean?
Definitely food for thought. Definitely food for thought, Sam. I see you've stored up a lot of interest in the national movement of the Virgin Islands. And you've got people talking, and part of our job is to get people dialoguing, talking.
I think so.
We learn a lot from each other when we talk.
Yeah, but you need people who are willing to listen and dialogue, Courtney.
Yeah. And
not people who take one-line sentence and then try to twist it and turn it because maybe what we're saying might be holding true to them.
Yeah.
So. I think conversation is good. I'm willing to engage anybody, Courtney.
Yeah.
And when I'm wrong, I'm willing to listen and learn.
I'm glad that you raised the beach issue again, because this is something that is not going to go away.
Yeah.
We have situations where we have sold whole islands, and I myself wonder if when you sell an island, if you sell the various historical things that are in the island as well. I'm going to make reference to say things like the caves, or if you have a historical site on the island, whether or not that is included, because sometimes how ownership is. Sometimes you sell me something, I'll assume everything is mine.
Yeah. Well, that is a big problem,
But I don't think it's a resolved issue. I think we still have to find out. But I know the beach part is definitely a resolved issue because of the way the law is written. Public access and right away to the beaches. That's basically what the Town and Country Act 2004 speaks about.
Yeah.
And it's quite explicit about how the access should be done, and there are a number of options that are available to landowners and to the government as well.
Well, even adding to that, Courtney, I want to say just this week, I was having some conversation with some of the ministers and the government officials, and they were telling me that there's a renewed policy, beach management policy that's going to come out. And the way this was written, I think those guys are going through in a very thoughtful way. And I think it's going to be good. Things like, protection of the beaches. We have some of the more beaches that, a lot of people visit. Josephine Dyke, White Bay Beach, Smuggler's Cove. Every weekend you go over there and you have to be fighting boats that are anchored in the place where people are supposed to be swimming. And it's affecting both locals, land-based tourists, and even some of the same people that come in on other boats that park outside of the area and swim in. They can't even enjoy the beach. So I think the government is getting ready to drop some real enforcement in some of that, and it's needed. It's definitely needed.
But Sam, I am one of those people who was involved in a study on Virgin Gorda to try to stop people from overcrowding the bats. And from then, our management of our resources is an important aspect that we need to look at. we can't continue to just allow anything to happen. When you have a resource, if you don't manage the use of that resource, then different interest groups will use it according to their advantage.
That's right.
And that is what's happening right now. We have the bats, and we have a number of beaches that are very close in quality to what the bats offer. But in a number of instances, we don't have access, one, and two, we don't promote those areas.
Yeah.
And I'm specifically talking about Virgin Gorda, not to mention Anegada, which have so many beaches.
Yeah.
And we don't take tourists there on a as a path of our tourism product on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So management of our human resources is a very important thing. As a matter of fact, one of the things I suggested to one of my colleagues is just like how we have brochures for hotels and that kind of stuff. We could have brochures for all human resource products that we have. We have ponds, we have areas, we have exotic birds. We have a number of resources.
You're saying we should have brochures written up.
We should have
where people
brochures written up.
Pick it up and start reading, exploring.
And start, going after. King Garden Bay don't have to be crowded every time a cruise ship comes in. There are a lot of other things that the tourists can do. But we have to manage our resources. I'm going to continue saying that.
Not even, look, I remember, we're not going to be on tourism tonight, but just to lament on that a little bit, when I was on the tourist board, we pushed for having signs, big billboards out there in front of the cruise ship dock as the people then walk down, so they could see all these different options. And we never get a chance to put that forward. I don't know why it's such a problem to do things like that, to promote that kind of movement, because again, it stimulates different areas of the country, and that's what you want.
And different areas of the economy.
Exactly.
Because if you get tourists going to Bruce Bay, for example, all of a sudden you would see the businesses in Bruce Bay start to diversify and cater to the needs of the tourists.
Yeah.
And not to mention as you were saying before, the local industry as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that stuff
Courtney,
about
I
tourism.
have to pull a lot because again, I was just in Village Ski. I think it was on Tuesday, and someone approached me, and we had this heated discussion about whether or not people have the right.
Yes.
And this person said to me, I couldn't believe this person actually worked for government, said to me, the people who own the land should do something about the people who are going over their land. And I said, I agree, and nobody should be trespassing over anybody's land. But it's the government's responsibility to ensure public safety as well.
Yes.
And the law is clear. It said they said there shall be at least one public landward access to every beach in the territory.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a whole island that somebody buy in a country, there must be a public access over the land.
Yes.
So, and it has to be clear. And even down here, it said for the purpose of this section, traditional public use means peaceable, open, uninterrupted enjoyment for a period of 20 years or more. Public landward access shall be motorable, meaning you have to be able to go over by car or vehicle or whatever, unless the minister otherwise determines. So I mean, the law is clear, Courtney.
Yeah,
so I mean, folks, the show is not just about beach. We have an open show tonight. Call us. I just put some things out there because I like to provoke people's thought. I know sometimes people are waiting to hear what we have to say in order to engage. The phone lines are open if you want to call. The numbers on the screen. I just put out there, it's Tourism Month. We want you guys to go out and enjoy Tourism Month. Go on the BVI Tourist Board website. It's www.bvitourism.com. They have on the left side of their website, as it open up, just scroll down a little bit, you'll see a calendar. The calendar, click on it. It'll tell you everything that's happening throughout this month. They have different things happening involving tourism, and we want you to go out and enjoy those things. We also talk about beach management. I looked up this a lot because somebody called last week. The lady was very distraught. She felt as if there's no respect for the public access to some of our public beaches, and all our beaches are supposed to be public. And I decided, you know what, I remember reading a lot. I remember having a situation myself on an island. I wasn't quite clear what the law stated, and I went and I looked it up. I looked it up, and it's clear to me, Courtney.
Yeah.
There's two people play a role in this. The owner of the private development, it could be a hotel, it could be a private owner, it could be me and you, Courtney, BVI locals or whoever. There must be some access to that beach to the general public, and it has to be uninterrupted. And that's what this law said. We also talk about spending money locally. Government offices, bodies, statutory bodies. Some of you that work for government, call us and tell us. I already know who's doing what. I know some of the government agencies are buying their stuff from Amazon and Staples and all these big companies out of the States. And all I'm asking is, how do you feel that's going to affect the local economy if the same people you're not supporting, you go to send your kids to them to ask them for sponsorship? I mean, I don't understand how we can expect businesses to continue to hire people, grow their business, if you're spending your money overseas. And government don't pay any. Do government pay any taxes when they import stuff?
No.
So they don't pay any taxes, and you're buying all this products.
Except for wharfage, I think 1% wharfage.
Oh, which is nothing. They probably pay for shipping too, but
they have to pay for shipping, and they probably have to pay for insurance as well.
Yeah.
But Sam, I was going to throw a couple of other things out there.
Put it out there, Courtney.
The Census 2010, we're still waiting on the information for the Census 2010. I want to talk a little bit about some potholes, and talk about the British Nationality Act, and talk about some vendors in Road Town, and let's talk about the gas prices, the price of that are out there right now, the increased price of gas, and I'll talk a little bit about the dengue fever epidemic that we have that's in the territory. So I'm going to, throw those out there as well and hear what people. The first one I was going to challenge, the viewers to call about the gas prices. Tell us what you think we could do, what we can do to encourage the people that sell us gas to reduce their prices. If there's anything we can do to encourage them, and we could have a conversation about it to start off with, because the gas price that we have is a combination of a number of things. One part of it is it goes to the government, and we need to have a conversation about it. And the last thing I had on here was raising government revenue. I understand that we're going to have to save some $50 million over the next couple of years.
Wow.
And obviously, if we have to do that, we have to find some money to put in the coffers to do the things that government want done. So we can start talking about, putting it out there, what are some of the areas that might be possible areas for increased revenue. Might as well deal with it from now. Don't wait until we hear in the news that that the revenues are raised, and then we wonder what new or what to expect. So we're going to talk a little bit about revenue and how some revenue can be increased, and what in other words, as a community and as policy, what are some of the areas we would be happier. We're not going to be I don't know about you, Sam. I'm not going to be happy with any raise in taxes. I put it out bluntly from now. I wouldn't be happy with paying any more taxes as it is. But
I believe it's coming though.
But if it's coming, we should have a dialogue about it. It shouldn't be something that's hidden, some hidden agenda. It should be something that's out here with the people, and the people should have an opportunity to raise their objection or their agreement with the areas that we're going to be so taxed on. So those are a couple of things. The census, on the census issue, right? I am really happy to know that we are able to count how many tourists we get here from year to year. We know without a doubt. But when it comes to how many people live here, we have been trying since 2000, and for whatever reason, we can't figure out how many people are here at this point.
Well, Courtney, I just want to share this with you.
Yeah.
For some reason, I went and pulled this information. I called DPU.
It have to be official information, though.
I called DPU just this week, and they emailed me some information that relates to estimate.
Right. I know we have estimates. I talk about official information that goes before the House of Assembly and is passed or agreed upon or debated upon or whatever.
Yeah. And that's where the census will come in.
That's where the census will come in, and that's where that information will be what we can broadcast or what we can repeat. We can repeat estimates and propositions and maybe and that kind of stuff. We could read it and stuff, but as it being authentic, that's neither here nor there.
Well, I tell you, regardless of how we look at it, there's a lot of people in the country.
There might be, but as a government, we need to say to the people that there's so many people in the country, and of course
we need to break them down.
And of course, it is so important to planners, it's important to architects, engineers, to businesses. The whole level, and I think it's very unfair if some people have the information and other people don't have the information. I would be very disappointed in our system if my friend in Harvard could call here and get the information, and I'm sitting right here in JTV and I can't get the information. I would be very disappointed in that situation. That may be the situation. I'm not saying it is, but if that is the situation, I would be very disappointed to know that that is the way we are going forward in this 2020 vision of our country. We talk about openness of government and freedom of information and a lot of fancy words. But the reality, Sam, is not happening. It's not. No, that's not what it is. Now the pothole situation, I see we're developing a number of potholes in some areas where, government has to fix the roads when you have water break and stuff like that. But we need to get back and make the motoring public at the least able to stay on their side, on the left-hand side of the road at all times. So if we dig up the road, just walk with the other departments and try and fix back the road. I see Skelly went and take it upon himself and fix the road there in Rotown by opposite the Chad's Ice Cream Parlor. That's commendable that one person would take on to do something like that. But we need a collective effort to ensure that we have motorable roads. And this is something that we the potholes and the dengue fever sort of go hand in hand too, my brother, because if you have big open areas of water and parking lots and drains that can't go down, drains that are just staying stagnant, that's even bigger than you having a bucket of water in your yard, because this is a big open public catchment area.
That whole dengue thing.
Yes.
Do you find that there's any real outcry right now, public outcry?
The minister was on the television talking about it. I heard the individual people from the department itself. They want the various radio stations talking about it. They're out there telling the public about it, and I think that is part of the process of familiarizing people with how it is spread and the danger. It affects mostly elderly people and children, right? And we all have to be very concerned, because it's not only here, it's also throughout the rest of the Caribbean, and a lot of people from those Caribbean islands travel here as well. So it's
I have a friend right now. They say he's in Puerto Rico sick.
Okay.
With dengue. One of the young ladies that work around Village Key.
Okay.
Just I think last month or the month before. Her loved one, I think, passed away, and they suspect dengue fever.
Okay.
I think
so it's a very serious thing.
They need to be more. They need to be more outcried on a regular basis. People need to be in the neighborhood. We need to encourage people to start getting rid of some of these water in little buckets and stuff, little potholes in different areas. Put bleach in some of them stuff to kill the mosquitoes, because that's needed.
But I was saying to Sam that these large areas of water that we have, catching around the place, right? I think, although we're speaking to the individual, but we also need to speak to the various government departments too, to see if they can do their part in eliminating some of these large bodies of water that are just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And I was listening to some of what one of the officers was saying. Is saying that they don't want to do the mosquito fogging because it kills other insects and stuff, which is an admirable point. But at the same time, the reality of the situation is that we have a serious situation where where it's a crisis at this point, I think, to some extent. And whatever necessary means need to be done. I think they should just go ahead and then, put some policy in place for in the future. But if we need to fog the place, let's fog the place and get rid of these mosquitoes.
Well, they need to.
Yeah.
Well, while you're on potholes, got a text just now, said something about parking. They want to see some law created. They said people just parking anywhere in front of you and blocking you in, and then just going about their business.
Especially in the supermarkets. I would attest to that as well. There are a number of people that just block you in because they know you or because they feel that they should park right in front of the store. And then in some cases there are lots of empty spots, but they refuse to park in the spots. They park in the middle, and when they park in the middle, they disrupt the whole parking system, just for no reason. Another one of the things that someone was talking to me about is the British Nationality Act, and how a person could be here and be 20 years old and still can't get any kind of status. And I was saying that we are not an independent country. We're still a dependent country, and once we're a dependent country, we're really governed by the rules of the British Nationality Act, where it concerns whether or not you become a national or not, even if you're born here. We have a lot of people who are born here, and they have not applied for naturalization, and they're here. So my advice to anyone in that situation is to follow the procedures, become naturalized. Right? And after you become naturalized, then you begin to inherit the rights that you have as a result of your naturalization, since you were born here, of your parents. And of course, your parents' rights would come into effect in order for you to further your own naturalization. So I would definitely encourage anyone to go ahead and get the information, get the law itself, and see where you fit in with the law. It's different for almost every different person. I had one person that asked me about it, and it came down to the point that the man and the woman were married before, I think it was before or after 1981. And then it also had a portion that the child was above the age of 10, and that person was able to get a passport as a result of following the law. If you don't follow the law, and if you don't find out where you fit in exactly, you could be depriving yourself of your own rights. So my advice is to follow the law, and don't worry about the other guy. Don't worry about what the other guy got. Worry about what you need to get, and what you need to do to get what you need. So don't feel left out. And although I must agree with someone that said to me that we need to have some different type of arrangement, and I think it's about time. We're of age. We should not have people here for 20 years without status and then say that's okay. We should have some in-between situation, and in other words, we should start up a new argument with the British government about the British Nationality Act, and I agree with that as well. Sam, we're having a good show, and we're having a couple of texts coming and whatnot. We're wishing we could get some good calls, and the sponsors that make the show possible are begging for a break, so we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with you. Don't move the dial.
Yo, you ain't checking for me no more, man. What going on?
Girl, you're right, man. Things rough right now and ain't getting no better. I gotta cut back how things so expensive.
Wait, you ain't hear Digicel giving away some serious credit? With Digicel, when you top up by $15, you will get $100 free credit. I mean, that's 100 anytime Digicel minutes, free chat all weekend long to your Digicel friends, and unlimited text to any network.
Wow! Now with Digicel, I can save and we can party some more.
Party Rock is in the house tonight.
Your credit lasts longer with Digicel. Now that's something worth partying about.
All right, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, Courtney, before we go forward, we got a couple of texts,
Right, yeah.
and also I wanna give a big shout out to the BVI in the financial services sector and the government for a clean, smart, legislation that help control and police the financial services sector. They said they beat out 25 other jurisdiction to being one of the best, #1 ranking offshore jurisdiction anywhere in the world. So we're small, but we're big. We're large, Courtney. And they were graded by a big company, seems like, that do rating on it's called Oil Offshore Incorporation. So big up to Mactavius and his group. Big up to the government for leadership. And also, ladies and gentlemen, it also outlines some of the areas of concentration and the kind of business that we do when it relates to financial services. So read the article, get some ideas, and that way when you're talking to people, you can rub off or throw off some of the notion that we're a tax haven, so to speak. We do legitimate business in the country. So it's great for the BVI. Courtney text, we got a text that said some people are crying out, say they need water in Bellevue. Courtney, what we can do with this water situation? The Barker's pipeline is supposed to be up and running. There shouldn't be any reason. But my whole take on that, Courtney, I'm going to say it over and over and over. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a cistern and you tap into government water, connect that water right into your cistern. Put a shut-off valve. So when the cistern gets full, you have water always in your cistern. Stop, if you could help it, stop just depending on government water. Government water should be like a subsidy. It shouldn't be a prime connection. And the problem I find, Courtney, you're an architect, I find that lately in the past 10 years, a lot of people being encouraged not to build cistern. And I think that's a deadly approach. Also, we have another thing about parking. Just the other day, I myself had this problem coming out from Banco Poplar, coming on to Waterfront Drive, come back onto the main road, the government road, Admin Drive.
Right.
And they got a big silver tree right down the corner. And you got to push your head out to see what's coming on down the road. Somebody texts, apparently people are having that same problem. My good friend Jan Bradford is a city manager. She's a person that knows what's going on. Call her up. I think she's in the Ministry of Communication office. You can call her, get her cell number if she have one, and she should have an office somewhere throughout Rotong. So that's a really good thing. And also done by the hospital, coming out from the hospital road back onto Waterfront Drive. Courtney, you got some vehicles that park right down the corner, and it poses a problem because again you got to push your head out so far just to get out of there. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised between the people I'm crossing the street, you coming out trying to look both ways to clear traffic, that nobody haven't gotten run down yet, and no vehicles haven't had any accidents. So big up to the people who are paying attention, but it is a dangerous situation. They got to reflect it. They got one of those mirrors up there, but it takes away from your focus.
Yes.
When you got to be looking at that mirror and trying to gauge how fast that vehicle is driving coming up to tell whether or not, and then you got to swing so wide just to make a left-hand turn and go back up the road. So folks, the phone lines are open. It's an open show.
Yeah.
And then you guys we're getting a lot of texts. You guys want to text. We want to hear your voice last week. Many of you were very vocal. I think we were able to answer some of your questions, especially the situation with the beaches. That's an ongoing problem, and I don't know why we still having that problem. We should never be having this problem anymore. The laws are clear. I think, like I said to people, you just need to start challenging these things. When a bunch of people could get together and just write some petition, write some letters, and start challenging the system. If you got to sue the government to get the government to react, that's what we got to do. Not to say I support the idea of suing the government, Courtney, but sometimes that's what it takes. I remember just the grassroots organization, the environmental group that put in a lawsuit against the destruction of Hans Creek. It was in their rights. And what's really amazed me is that one of the backers for that same thing was one of the wealthiest people in the world. He owns an island here. Yeah. But yet he has an island that is so difficult, it's so intimidating, to get on that island, to just go there and have a nice day on the beach, because everything is so, no, if you're not part of the $58,000 a day plan, you can't be on it. So, but people need to start exercising it right. You got to be more proactive. If you're not proactive, you're not in front of some of these things, you're going to just be reactive, and you're going to be more frustrated, and there's nothing from that. So.
Yeah, Sam, I just want to go to the text that we just got here, right? It said, I'm here for 30 years, applied for residence since, I'll get back to you, we have a call. Good evening, you're free speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Cody.
Yes, sir.
Good night, my brother. I touched base with you for long.
Yeah, good night. How are you doing?
I'm listening to Sam there speaking about pushing out your head down by the hospital and by some.
Yes. Hello.
Carla, we missed you. The phone going crazy. Call us back. We do have a number of texts coming in. Again, Courtney, we had that one that come in and said, talked about water. People are crying out. Crying out for water, and water is a big problem right now in the country. I keep saying I don't understand why anybody would, if you're gonna connect the government water and run it to your house, and you're using it, you're drinking it, you're using it to cook, you're using it to wash, you're bathing your skin with it. I don't see anything wrong with you using it to fill up your cistern and run your pipe straight from your cistern, throughout your house, like the old days, you know what I mean? And that way you'll never be out of water. So I encourage people, especially the new folks now who are building houses, don't listen to nobody. Build a cistern, build a reservoir. That's what you do. Courtney, you spoke about that just last week about having water reservation and
water security.
Water security.
Yeah.
And that's what it leads to. It ain't just about growing food and having water to grow food.
Yeah.
It's about, if there's a drought in the country, what you gonna do? You want to speak your mind? Speak your mind. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes, Carla. Go ahead. We got you now.
It's interesting to see that you're talking about the tree that you got to stick out your head around down there and around the stoplight by the hospital.
Yeah.
But where I listen to what you're talking about is them bright, like with hiding. I ain't nobody at all say anything about them.
Talk to us about it.
That's a fact. I have noticed that as well.
Again, I hear I saying about some time back here, a woman, as a matter of fact, lose her life down there in Paraquita Bay.
But
Yes.
by the college.
And one government gone, and they promised to do all kind of things, and one government come, and it's a possibility it could have been one of them same bright, like nobody never know.
Yes. Yeah.
One government gone and one government come, and still nobody ain't doing nothing about it. And not only that, I just drive down there, and there is an enormous amount of college students that be down there, stand up all overnight catching ride.
That's correct.
And it is a disgrace that one government gone where the woman lose her life, one come where somebody else might lose their life. Nobody ain't saying anything about it, and they ain't doing nothing about it.
But Carla, that's one of the reasons why I raised the issue, because we have to talk about traffic and we have to talk about improving it. I also think that one of the issues with that entrance by the hospital that we were speaking about is that we need a third lane for the hospital. And I said that more than one time.
Let me show you something when we observe again.
Yeah.
Right there by the police station there in Rotang, by that big camera right by Nips.
Yes.
I noticed several morning that there's a big school bus just come and pass right in a them cross thing underneath that tree, the yellow mark.
You mean up on
When you're going out there, it ain't no way in hell you could see we're coming from up the road.
You mean right in front of where the auxiliary police be?
You mean a little parking space as you turn the corner by the police station?
Yeah, that's
under the tambour tree.
Yeah.
Again, and over in the parking side, the police station. You're swinging left to go down by the gas station. Right under the tree on your right hand side.
Oh.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, but what I was saying to you...
some long time, and you cannot see nothing coming from the road, and somebody going to get killed right in front of the police tonight.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're listening. I'm pretty sure they're listening, and I hope they take corrective action, because what you're describing is something that could be corrected very easily.
The people that were driving with them blue light, that could be corrected too.
That could be corrected as well.
Notice the police are pretend that they didn't see them.
Yeah, but Carla, I remember back in the days when we used to have police officers here, if you change the color of your vehicle, they used to make you go and change the registration.
But let me explain you something, Courtney.
Yeah.
I lived in Barbados for a large amount of years before I came here. And it didn't give what's about this. Anytime you change the wheel on your vehicle and put a bigger one on top of it, you can pay a higher road tax for that particular vehicle. And don't think that you will take them off and when it's done, they meet them on the road driving because they go, park you on the side and take it off and put it back forward and leave it there. Until you go get the appropriate wheel.
Yeah.
You do. Right here in this country, I see the people that got the wheel cut down. That when they're going over a speed bump, they turn across right in front of you. I don't know if you ever see it.
I seen it.
Okay, these things are wrong, and somebody needs to look into them.
But I know you know what I'm talking about when I say what I'm going to say. We have taken the traffic department and split it in two. There's one part of the traffic department that's under the police, and there's another part of the traffic department that is under the
Ministry.
No, under the motor vehicle, the Department of Motor Vehicle, the DMV. And as far as I was able to understand, there's no exchange of information between the two parts. So what does that tell you?
Well, everybody do what they please.
Everybody is doing as
They're not cooperating with one another. That's why
everybody's doing what they could get away with.
But well, when they do it, please, I get away with it.
Yeah. But I agree with you that it's going to cause a lot of concern. We have a situation where no one is looking to seriously address the cycling issue. They neither want to increase the amount of cc's that you could ride on a motorcycle. They have it at 125. Some of them can't even go up the hill. And we have the four-wheel drive ones. No one wants to regulate those. There are a few of them on Joshua Dyke. There are a few of them here. And no one wants to regulate it. And then on top of that, no one really wants to talk to the young people who are riding these things, and they're doing so in an economical way. They're using less gas, and they're getting around there. It's a means of transportation for them. Right? But nobody wants to address these issues. People want to talk about how they ride around the driver and how they ride carelessly. But
Courtney, most of these youngsters are riding these bikes are children.
That is correct.
I don't know if you really recognize it.
Yeah, from 16 years. Caller, from 16 years, you can get a motorcycle license in the Virgin Islands. Okay, so most of them, as you rightfully saying, are kids. And
my concern is where they're getting money from. They're taking this lunch money to save it up to buy these bikes.
Oh, them parents spoiling them.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Same parents who got to go more in their debt is who's spoiling them.
I think we need to have...
I am praying God that when they fall, they don't fall under my vehicle. God, they might charge me. Or you, or anybody.
But that's one issue. But the other issue is that if they're correct, if they're right in the use of the road, and they're knocked down. I saw this with my own two eyes already. They also looked at as the enemy, they're the wrong person, where their rights are going through the window, and that is wrong. As a society, we shouldn't operate like that.
Go, let me tell you something. You know where I live in, right?
Yeah.
Some Saturday I go coming up the road. I put on the indicator, put on into my yard. There's a vehicle behind me. The vehicle behind me slow up. And out of the clear blue sky, another vehicle was behind that one day. And another fella come from way down the road, and he come roll like a jet plane. And he stopped about 2 inches from tearing off my right front fender.
Yes.
And when I get it stopped, you know what the man will tell me? If I had a HE vehicle, what he would have do me? Well, you know what I'm tell you what I tell you? Clint Eastwood said, you make my day. Because you're right into my house you're talking about. So if he had get out and tried to raise your me, he would have made my day.
Okay.
Definitely. I wanted to say, to the credit of the people at DMV, they doing their best. Those guys, I think, are very attentive. They go through the whole process. They check people's vehicle, and they checking those lights, you know.
Yeah, they're checking them.
And what happened is a lot of people, when they leave DMV after the vehicle's licensed, they'll change the lights after they leave. You understand? So then DMV look like they're not doing their job. But they are. They're
Yeah.
doing their job.
I wasn't saying they're not doing their
No,
job.
I didn't say you were.
But,
I didn't say you said
but
that.
what I was describing is that the system is set up that way.
And also credit to the police department. I mean, we got 1 or 2 police officers out here. You know, Brother Colwood, I got to call him out. You know, I think he does a good job. And every time he gets out there and he starts doing his job, people start crying out, oh, he's too this, he's too that, you know. But then here we are talking about, you know, good policing and where's the police? And when we do have police out there trying to do their job, you know, you think about the people parking, stopping in front of Ward building for years. We've been crying out and complaining about that.
Yeah,
They finally don't mention it.
One of the things that just came in, Sam, is we got a text here that came in that speak about the same thing what we were talking about. That says traffic violation enforcement can be a good revenue source. I agree with that as well. That could be a way of getting some revenue from, you know, from people who not not abiding by the traffic rules. Courtney, you were reading a text about somebody being here for 30 years, never finished. Sam won't give you a chance. I've been here for 33 years, can't get residency status. Okay, I'm going to come back to that as well. Good evening, you're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good night, Courtney. Good night.
Good night, good night.
How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm calling on the behalf of someone, a gentleman.
Okay.
Okay? He told me that he's working with this company over 30 years. A private company.
Yes.
And they think that they want to get rid of him, you know?
Yes.
So he asked me, what about his gratuity, you know?
Yes.
And they told him there's nothing there for him. He needs to go to Social Security.
Social Security kicks in at
Not
6.
social, you know. Yeah, he needs to go to
Social Security is different from
Severance pay.
from severance pay.
Yeah, they told him that we have to go to them social, vehicle for his, they told the man that he had to go.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, if you work with a company for over 20 years and they want to get rid of you, there's not some gratuity there?
Well, under the new labor code, it has a number of things. You have a pension, part of it is a pension requirement, and also to the severance pay and all those things. But I think he's going to have to go have a conversation with the people at the Labor Department and seek some help, because as you probably know, the Labor Department is the go-between, the middle person between the employer and the employee. And if they don't fulfill their requirements, then he has another option, which is to take it to a legal level, get an attorney and fight for his rights. But he do have rights.
Oh, you do have rights, but you don't have money to go through all of that. That's just a push around, man. You can't do angling people like that.
Well, it's a two-pronged thing. One is that you are correct that our governments, regardless of who you're backing, regardless of who you're for, all governments are supposed to protect the rights of workers. And to the extent where they should be given a fair, listen to me good, should be given a fair amount of options as it relates to employment. And we've noticed where companies close down here and they tell the kids, the employees, goodbye, and that's the end of that. We've seen that here in the past. We're hoping that will not continue in the future. We're hoping that when we hear of these large layoffs, we heard that companies are laying off 10, 20 people one time. We're hoping that in these situations that the Labor Department go and speak to these companies first and find out what they're doing with Mr. X and Mistress ABC prior to the announcement coming out saying that they're laying off 20 people. And also too, it begs the issue as well. I'm going to throw this one in as well. If the person is a national, then they should be given that national consideration as well. because
Okay.
because it is a requirement of the law that all these companies that are here are supposed to hire nationals first and then hire other people after. It says, if you notice many of the advertisements that go out, it says belongers or residents preferred. That is because of the law. They don't put that in for advertising. They put that in because of the law. So I feel that when you're closing out a part of your employment, you should
But
also...
this company not closing down, you know. They just want to get rid of the chain command.
Okay.
And it seems like if they talk, they are fired too. You know, it's ridiculous, eh?
Why are they trying to get rid of him? They trying to replace him with other people?
And it seems that way.
There's a way that a company can make you redundant. Okay, they can make they can decide that your position is no longer needed in the company, and they make the.
Secure like that, with nothing.
No. But I was explaining to you, even if a company does that, you still have certain rights. Where you have to go and and fight for those rights. It's not an easy road. It's
They
not.
don't have money to fight for it, right? They take money to get lawyers, things like that for it.
There's some lawyers here that will work pro bono. You know, you have to sort them out. There are lots of lawyers here.
It's so sad though. All these agents, they're private company and they just want to push you around like that. Just, get rid of you like that.
Yeah.
The company not closing down. The company is still there. And they still want to do that. It's really... I think the government needs to look into this one.
It's unethical too to me. It's unethical because you already used the services of that person, made money out of that person, and now you're about to turn your back on them.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Well, thanks a lot, caller. We got another caller on the line.
Okay then, okay. You guys have a good night.
All right, thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. The one thing I didn't mention too, though, Sam, is that I think that there still needs to be some setting up of the pension part of the 2010 labor code, because I think it's still left up to the companies themselves to decide on what percentage the employee must pay and what percentage the company must pay, and when they're setting up. And some companies are crying, saying that they can't afford to set up the private pension for the employees. So I think we need to have a discussion about that as well. Sam, as usual, we get to the point in the show where the sponsors that make the show possible are asking us to take a break. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.